Okay, sorry about that. This is my first time doing a live stream, so gonna have a few technical difficulties. But yep, I'm gonna get started here in a second. I apologize for there's a sunspot that keeps like getting around my face, so I'm gonna try and avoid it. But the sun does move, so it may get in my face again. But it is 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Jake Hershfield. I am one of the co-founders and the CEO of Unshuffled. Thanks for joining. This is our first of what will be a weekly live stream series where we'll talk about really anything, but the focus will be on Unshuffled, new games, learning new games. Try and have some guests on sometimes. Yeah, bear with me. This is my first time doing a live stream, and they will get better as we move along. But practice makes perfect. So I also will be drinking beer during these because I love beer, and I think it's fun to share the things that you love. So today I'm drinking a Fresh Haze IPA from the Shoots Brewing Company. Normally I will try a new beer, but I think for this first one, I wanted something that would make me comfortable. And this is my favorite brewery. So cheers, everyone. Happy Monday. It's March 15th. March Madness is on the way, which I'm really excited about. Yum. Delicious. Okay, so a little bit about me and Unshuffled, since this is our first one. My dad and I started Unshuffled a little less than a year ago, in May of 2020 during COVID, because my dad plays poker with all of his friends, and they hate Texas Hold'em and Omaha. They think it's really boring. Those are the only games I knew how to play, and he wanted a way to play all the games that him and his friends have made up over the last 20 odd years of playing together online. And they didn't want to have to use Zoom because setting up a poker game with Zoom first took them 30 or 40 minutes just to get the Zoom set up before they could even start playing. One of these days, I'll show a clip of it. It's pretty funny to see a bunch of old guys kind of laughing at each other trying to get Zoom started. They start at 7 and then start playing poker at like 10. It's pretty funny. So we started in May, and we hired a great firm to help us build the platform. And fast forward to now to what we have, and we built what I think is an awesome product. And I'm really excited to show you all what we have, give you some tips and tricks, and then go through new games. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and move some stuff around here. Cool. So this is the Unshuffled homepage. Most of you have probably seen this before. To get to this page, you have to have an account. You have to sign in. I'm quickly going to do a product tour just because it's our first one. I want to make sure everyone knows kind of what they're doing. Unshuffled has a hierarchy baked into the platform. So you can create game templates, you can host rooms, and you can join rooms. Hosting a room is exactly what it sounds like. You click on this Start Room button. You can set your room parameters, and then you click Play Now. You invite your friends, and then they join. So that's hosting a room, and then the joining function as well. Inside of a room, as the dealer, you can choose the template that you want to play. So imagine you're just playing poker with your friends. Often there's a dealer's choice setting, which we have right here. You turn that on. Whenever it's your turn to deal, you will be the one that gets to choose the game. Maybe you want to play Texas Hold'em, or you want to play Omaha, or high-low Omaha, or 7-card stud, or whatever it might be. That's really the basics. I won't get too in detail on this because you'll see it as we go through our first game that I'm going to walk through. But just going through these things quickly. Initial buy-in, exactly what it sounds like. You can use antes or blinds or none if you want to. You can set the small and big blind, and then intervals. Typically, we suggest keeping the intervals to no more than 2x because it gets pretty big pretty quickly. I typically like to do my intervals every 15 minutes at 2x just to keep the pace of play going. And we'll be adding a couple cool new features, which I will go over at the very end. Table stakes, this just means that you can go negative. So if you turn off table stakes, your chip total can go negative. So you don't really need to rebuy back in. And then, as I said, dealer's choice, something you can turn on or off. So the dealer has the power to decide what game you want to play. If it's on, you can set the game that you want to be played in your room. These auto games, the software will drive all the actions. So the dealing of the cards, the chip distribution, and the winner selection. So you won't have to worry about that. And then all these non-auto games are custom games, and we'll go through that in detail when we're playing our first game. So let's go ahead. We'll go home, and I'm going to walk through the template creation workflow. And while I do that, I am going to explain how to play a game that my dad taught me called Wally World. It is pretty much a variation of Omaha. It's a lot of fun, and it's usually a high-low game. And my dad and his friends play it nonstop, and I'm excited to share with you all. So let's go ahead and dive in. So first, I'm going to go ahead and click New Template. We actually have Wally World as a universal template because we wanted to keep it for you all. But for the sake of this live stream, I'm going to just make the template myself. So I'm going to start with a new board. I'm going to arrange my board. And I am going to use a medium-sized board because Wally World requires 3 rows of cards. So I'm going to deal all the cards face down to start. So we'll do a row of 4 at the top, and then a second row of 4 below. Oops. And then a row of 3 below that. So the way this game works is as the dealer, you will flip over cards from each row after each betting round, and each player receives a total of I think it's 4 cards. So we'll do those face up. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like Omaha. If you ever have questions about how this template creation workflow works, you can always click on the tutorial, and it'll walk you through in detail how each stage and what each element does and what it means. I'm going to skip it and give a quick overview. These elements are for the community area, so everyone will see these cards. And when I'm the dealer, I'll be able to drag cards to these elements at any point in time. And then these cards will be all dealt to each player. So face up means that, actually, I don't want to do face up because that means everyone's going to see these cards. So I'll go ahead and get rid of those. That'd be great for like 7 card set or something. I want these to be dealt face down, so it's just my cards. No one else can see them. Great. Deal order. So this just expedites some of the dealing. In some games like Texas Hold'em, you have very obvious, each player gets their whole cards first. Then there's a round of betting. Then for the flop, you would add a second deal order, and you would select those 3 cards for the flop. And then there'd be a third for the turn and a third for the river. For this game, we don't need that actually. So I'll go ahead and get rid of that. I'll trash the deal 2. And we're going to just do everything in the first round. We want all the cards dealt. Next, we'll go to our custom settings. We're just going to leave it at standard. This is not a gut style game. And I'm going to call this Wally World Custom, just so that I don't mistake it for the universal template that we have. I'm going to go ahead and click save. And now I'm going to create my room. So I will start a room. Let's just use antes for the sake of this example. We won't need a blind interval. Actually, let's do a blind interval. We'll do 10 minutes. We'll set our factor to 2. We can leave table stakes on. We're going to turn that off. We don't want the dealer to choose. We want the dealer to be able to choose the game. And we're going to go ahead and click play now. We've got our link. I can copy it and share it with all of my friends. I'm going to join the room and buy in. And then I'm going to get another player in here really quick. So give me 1 second. course, the room code has the word pay in it. That's kind of funny. It's random. So, all right. So this player is James Bond. That's me. And the other player will be Maxwell Smart. We'll just go head to head for the sake of this. And I will go ahead and start the game. So normally we'll have our video show up in this circle like this. Because I've got the live stream going on, I don't need all these different video streams going. I'm going to turn this one off, and I will turn this one off as well. It'll save bandwidth, and we'll keep just my face on the screen. We don't need to see my face that many times. So in our room, I'm the host and I'm the dealer. A couple of things just to get ourselves situated here. Like I said, video settings right here. If you launch your room and you don't have the video turning on for some reason, a lot of the browsers by default turn off permissions for platforms to use your video, your camera, and audio. So there's usually a little camera up here, at least in Chrome. You can click on that. You can always allow access, and then you just want to refresh the page, and you'll get the video going. So we're going to play Wally World. I'm going to go ahead and start the hand, and I'm going to select my Wally World custom template. And we're going to see all of our cards are going to deal, and our nice set of cards are going to deal here as well. So Wally World is a high-low game, and it's like Omaha, meaning you are only allowed to use 2 cards from your deck. In fact, you have to use 2 cards from your hand. Excuse me, not deck. You must use either 2 cards from the first row, 2 cards from the second row, and you must use 1 card from the third row. So by definition, I'm going to lower this first real quick. If there is no low card in the bottom row, because usually we play 8 or better, then there's no low for the hand. So if you don't have a card in here that's 8 or lower, no low. Oftentimes, the players will have the non-dealer, or like one of the players to the left, choose which cards these are. But for the sake of this, obviously, it's just me, so I'll choose. We start off with a betting round, so I will take bets. And we're just going to check for the sake of this hand. And he's got okay cards. I'm going to bring this back up. Maybe a straight, maybe a flush. I'll go ahead and check. All right, so we're going to start with 2 cards from the top row and 2 cards from the bottom row. Okay, so we've got a pair of 9s. The other player, we don't know, has okay cards. We're going to go ahead and take bets. This player is going to go again, and they're going to bet this time. Let's just say they bet the pot. We're going to go ahead and call. And this tray goes down just to give us some space. And now we're going to flip the next 2 cards from the top row. The next 2 cards from the bottom row, from this row. And a card from the bottom row. I screwed that up. I should have flipped this card over in the last round. So it's 2 on the top, 2 in the middle, 1 on the bottom. My apologies. So just for the sake of this demonstration, after the first betting round, you do 2, 2, whoops, and 1. And then in the second betting round, you do 2, 2, 1 more. All right, so we've got ourselves a low hand. As you can see, we've got 5, 4, 2, 2, 3, lots of low options here. We'll do another betting round. My apologies for that. Like I said, first time doing this. This player is gonna check, and this player, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bet. Probably not the best option, but we've got a pair of 10s. We have 2 pair actually, 10s and 9s, and I think we have a decent chance at a straight. So the high hand looks pretty good for us. So we're gonna bet 50. We've got some shortcuts here as well for you. So we'll bet. This player is gonna call, and then we'll flip the last card. So what's interesting about this game is that if you're going for the low, you may not know that there is a low until the very, very last betting round, because there needs to be a low card in this bottom hand. There happens to be one in this hand, but it's very often the case where a 4 or these are all high cards, and then there's no low hand. In that case, you're kind of screwed. So we'll do bets one more time. And this player is going to, let's see, what does this player have? I actually don't know. 2 pair, definitely the low hand here. So this player is going to check. And this player is also going to check. And that's it. That's the end of the hand. So what we will do now is we're going to show our cards. And this player won the low hand because we're doing aces high and low. So the ace is low, the 8 is low, and we've got 2, 3, 4. So the low is won by this player because this player doesn't have a low hand. And then as far as the high, we have oh wait, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting the rules to this game because you have to use 2 from this row and 2 from this row. So let me start over. Apologies, not my first time. This is one of my first times playing Wally World, so I'm gonna start that over. This player still wins the low because he does have 5, 7, 2, ace 8, so that doesn't change. But he also wins the high because this player would potentially have a flush, but can't make the flush because there's no hearts in the bottom row. He does have a pair of 10s and jacks, and this player has a pair of 10s and 9s. So this is perfect because what actually happens is this player is going to win the low, that's me, and then the other player is going to win the high. So what we'll do, we're going to end the hand, we're going to select winners, and we actually will just choose both players. We'll distribute the pot, and it's perfect 50-50. We're going to pay out into the hand. Now the next player goes, and we're going to do it one more time just because that wasn't the smoothest example of Wally World. But I'll just go a little slower so I don't confuse myself and I don't confuse all of you. So, like I said, there's a betting round. We'll go ahead and take bets here. We're just going to check, and we're going to check. We're going to flip over 2 cards from the top row and 2 cards from the bottom row and 1 card from the very bottom row. We'll take bets again. Let's just bet for the sake of the game. We're going to call. So right now, this player has a pair of 5s. Probably would actually a decent straight draw there, or could go for the pair of 6s. And the other player is working with a pair of 5s. All right, so we'll do one more round of card flipping. These 4 and 1 more from the bottom row. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take bets again. We're going to check. This player is definitely going to bet because he has 3 kings. I'm going to go 400. And we're going to call. 1 more card to flip over. 1 more betting round. There is the potential for a low here because of the 7. We'll check. Let's just check for the sake of the game. Okay, so like I said from the beginning, not like I said at the beginning of the last hand, each player can choose 2 cards from the top row or 2 cards from the middle row and must choose 1 card from the bottom row in combination with 2 cards from their hand to make up the best 5-card hand or the best low 5-card hand. A player can win both. Aces can be low. So this player does have a low hand. We've got 3, 6, ace, 5, and 7. That's probably pretty good and likely going to win. This player, let's show our cards, can not make a low hand because in the top he has 2 5s and in the bottom row he has 2 3s. So unfortunately, he is not going to win the low hand, but he does have 3 kings. So he handedly wins the high. So what this means is, again, we have another split pot. So we'll go ahead and click end hand, select winners. I need to show my cards. We'll select each player, and we will distribute the pot. Pay out in the hand. And that's it. That's Wally World. Couple other quick things. When you're inside of a room, you can always check the game log. If someone screwed something up, you've got an audit that shows everything that's going on. You also want to check to see, in this game, we have had just the chips have evened out after every hand, but you would be able to see sort of where you stand, throughout the middle of a game or towards the end, who's got the most net winnings based off of the total buy-in that they have. So it's net winnings, which I think is more helpful. And then quickly, we'll just go through one auto game because I think it is a lot easier to understand how things work. We'll do Omaha high-low. And just to show the contrast between an auto game and a regular game, you see there's no buttons up here for the dealer because the game's going to take care of all the dealing for us. We're just going to check through this really quick. You'll see the cards will deal automatically. There's our burn card, Ace-6-4, potential for a low hand. In fact, I think we already have it. Go ahead and check and check. Oh yeah, definitely a low. Let's just bet for the sake of the game. We'll bet the pot, and then this player will call. Oh wow, lots of low hands today. We'll go ahead and check, and we will check. And then once that's done, the low hand will the game will decide who the low hand is for you. It looks like I won both of the high and the low. Again, if I go to standings at the end of this hand, of the next hand, it'll update. So you'll see, we've got a net winnings of 30 versus Maxwell Smart, who's got, minus 30. That makes a lot of sense. And then also, if I want to see when the antes are going to increase, they're going to increase in the next betting round. And I think if I start a hand and I do another one, we'll get a nice notification that they've been updated. And yeah, that's sort of the end of what I had planned for this live stream. My apologies for Wally World. Like I said, this is my first time doing it, and there will be mistakes made. But if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can send a support ticket at the. Let's see. I'll show you exactly where it is. In the menu, you can go to Contact and Support and just submit a little ticket, and it comes right to my inbox, so I will answer them right away. Or you can reply to the emails that we send out every week or 2 weeks. I get those; just comes straight to my email inbox. One last thing, and this is a sneak peek for our next release. We are working on pot limit and turn timers. So you've asked and we've heard and we're building it. So soon you'll be able to create pot limit rooms where Unshuffled will just handle the max bet for you. And you'll be able to add a turn timer. And we've got a couple of presets here. I like 30 seconds personally, but if you want to play really fast, you can go 20 or even 10. And there will be a visual timer that winds down for each player. So this will help with pace for those of you who are playing with people who play really, really slowly. So that is all I've got for today. Thank you all so much for supporting Unshuffled and me. Next week, we'll do a new game, maybe a guts game. If you have a suggestion for a game to go through, please submit a ticket for us to look at it. I'd be happy to go through it. And yeah, continue to provide your feedback. And I look forward to hosting you all again here, same place, same time next week. Cheers, everyone.